on and ask you about your lovely brand, which is called Lyferoots. And what's the behind the name, the lovely name Lyferoots, and why did you decide to launch your brand?
When I was inspired to create Lyferoots, there was many factors which inspired me. One of the primary factors was that my mum's family heritage was from quite a beautiful village in Kosovo. It's so much land, and I remember visiting there and always thinking, wow, there's so much land, and the heritage that my grandfather made everything from scratch. Obviously planted everything, which they're still there, all the trees and all the plants and all the things like that, but obviously they're not maintained. I remember thinking all the beautiful botanicals that Kosovo has to offer, and all the beautiful, obviously, nature that we have all around. And I remember sitting down with my sister, she was asking me, what does it mean to you? And I was like, within our roots, we are made to absorb micronutrients, right? And then I mentioned, obviously, we were discussing it, she was like, and I wanted to call it roots nutrition. And then she turned around and goes, within our life, we are meant to consume micronutrients, which are in our roots. And then she was like, Lyferoots. And then it's, and obviously she actually came up with, as opposed to Lyfe, because firstly, it would be hard if someone Googled Lyferoots with an I, you would never find the brand. But also second, it makes it more kind of like bespoke to our brand to be called Lyferoots with a Y. But it honestly, it stems back from our heritage. Kosovo inspired me to create Lyferoots. The heritage that my mum's family had, all the land that they still have, the micronutrients, everything that was growing there, the botanicals, that kind of like inspired me to create Lyferoots, because a lot of the ingredients are botanical derived. And I remember saying that my kind of vision of life is targeted mind, body, nutrition, and then you would achieve optimal health. And that's why I formulated every product to aim to achieve, obviously, mind, body, nutrition alongside a healthy dietary intake. Because for me, I've always wanted to simplify what I know to consumers, because nutrition can be very complex and it can be misunderstood by a lot of individuals. But when it's simplified, it's not easy, but it's not hard either to fully understand nutrition. So that's what kind of formulated me. That's what kind of obviously drove me to create Lyferoots and come up with it and formulate it. And I just wanted I always say I wanted a product which my family would take. And I can assure you, every single family member takes my supplements. They don't pay for them, but they get them for free. Their family,
of course.
Everyone in terms of the family, they obviously all use my supplements, and it's a diet. They take one a day, and I've always wanted to create a brand, eco-friendly, sustainable, and it's one capsule. Because for me, personally, even though I'm a nutritionist, if I have to take more than one capsule, I have to go. I try to create it into one capsule, throw it in water and take it as a liquid, because a lot of people they can't consume capsules, they have difficulty. So I just kind of like want to try and cater to as many as I can, and to ensure that we're sustainable in everything that we do, because obviously sustainability is essential in our day-to-day life and helping our future offsprings.
Thank you for that. That's a really interesting background, and I love the design you've chosen, and the name and everything looks so earthy. Your brand is also plant-based, and they're eco-friendly, and they're also easy soluble. Is plant-based better as a supplement, or why did you make this choice to go for plant-based?
So I think basically why I kind of created plant-based is because especially within London, we're so diverse. We've got all sorts of different individuals. I wanted to cater to as many individuals as I could. So obviously being plant-based, it caters to veganism, vegetarians, it caters to individuals who want halal, obviously kosher, everything like that. It kind of like ticks all the boxes. Isn't necessarily best to be plant-based. Obviously there's pros and cons to it. I would always say it depends on your dietary intake. If we could add more vegetables and fruits to our diet, it would be amazing, because obviously we're recommended to have up to 10 in the UK, but it isn't necessarily the best way forward. It depends on the individual, but in terms of supplementation, I wanted to cater to as many consumers as I could. So I didn't want an individual to pick it up and say, oh, it contains, for example, this ingredient, which is of animal origin, so that cuts out veganism. Or it contains, for example, this ingredient which is not halal, and it cuts off individuals who are obviously of Islam religion. And likewise with Jews and so on, I wanted to make sure that it was kosher, halal, vegan, plant-based. So it kind of like ticked all the boxes.
You have like a men's multi, you have a women's multi, you have a kids multi, and you also have cognitive support, family biome, and the relax ease. These kind of, you know, drew attention to me, and I particularly really like the relax ease because it's related to stress and fatigue. So can you talk us about these 3 products just briefly?
Well, that was cognitive support, relax ease, and which other product?
And the family biome.
So the family biome it's a probiotic. It's basically friendly gut bacteria, which the whole family can use. The reason why it's called family biome is because you can use it after the age of 2. The reason why you can't use it prior to the age of 2 is for health and safety reasons. And obviously with toddlers and babies, they require a different sort of gut health supplementation. But it obviously contains friendly gut bacteria, which a lot of individuals find they're beneficial for them, and especially because certain factors, they might obviously have certain disorders or so, which they would obviously require live bacteria supplementation. The reason why obviously I named it Family Biome is because the whole family can take it. One of the things which I love is that being able to pick a product and being able to give it to the whole family, as opposed to going and buying a digestive probiotic for example, for mom and dad, and then buying one for the kids, and it just confuses the whole kind of like routine. Whereas when you've got one product, it's one product which the whole family can use after the age of 2. Obviously, kids can open the capsule up. There's no taste or anything like that. They can put it in yogurt. They can put it in their daily smoothie, juices, water. There's no taste. So I think that was one of my key elements when I formulated, obviously, Family Biome. In terms of cognitive support, it was one of the main things which I had studying is that I always wanted to stay alert, and one of the ways in which I did it prior to becoming a nutritionist was obviously trying to go for like a daily caffeine intake and making sure I was awake, and as students do. And then that's what I wanted to kind of help them out with. So I did a lot of research, had a lot of look on botanicals out there which may help with cognitive support, and formulated cognitive support, which obviously is a blend of different botanicals, different antioxidant based ingredients which will help, vitamins, minerals which will help brain health potentially, but also to help ensure that you have adequate minerals and vitamins through one capsule a day in your cognitive support. At this moment in time, a lot of we have a lot of students who buy it, a lot of individuals who are kind of have a lot of pressure, have a lot of work pressure, and they obviously tend to find it really helpful. Relax Ease is probably one of our hero products. I say heroes because it's the product which it's gotten the most the most reviews prior to launching, because I didn't want to launch a product without doing some sort of study. So even though it's not a big study, I basically asked 50 individuals to take it who were not on any obviously medication for stress or anxiety or anything like that, and who said that stress can mean, for example, running for the bus was stressful. Stress can mean all sorts of things. So I think as humans, we do tend to have quite a lot of stress on a daily basis. So I basically conducted this with 50 individuals and I asked them to take it every single day alongside their diets. And there might be multiple factors involved, but a lot of them came back and said that they found it really, really beneficial. And then I got my siblings to be my guinea pigs and take it themselves. And again, they find it really beneficial. And then obviously when we launched, it had the best reviews because I launched 2 months before a pandemic. I had no idea the pandemic was coming because I think I was launched, and it was probably our best selling product because unfortunately the pandemic brought obviously a lot of stress and anxiety and just not knowing the unknown, for example. So that was quite interesting during that period. As a complex, it has a botanical which is known to potentially help with stress. Vitamin D, we tend to be depleted in vitamin D when we're stressed, and some magnesium in there, and just another botanical help with stress again. But as a complex, it works really well. I've noticed with consumers, based on their reviews, and that it's one of our best sellers online in stores. It tends to be one where people just pick it up because, unfortunately, we live in a world where we find a lot of stress on a day-to-day basis wherever you live. So yeah, that's kind of like in a short.
Why this were highlighting to me this Relax Ease. I need one, so throw one over. Okay, so you've made Family Biome, the probiotic, very good because it makes it life easier. The whole use it, and I think probiotic is very important to take as a family because it builds immunity. So that's really lifesaver if it's for everybody to use the same one, because then you'll just end up with lots of different packaging for everybody else, and you have to remember whose is who. So that's really good. And the Relaxease, especially, people need it now, not with just the pandemic, but in life general. We're all stressed and everyday stress, so something just to relax us would be really good. So that's a top product. I'm glad you've had all this success with Relax Ease, and you're very brave to go into launching a brand in the part of when it's pandemic, but you're a success story. So I think we should just answer some questions from our viewers. Let's just see what questions we have. Viewer is asking, she has Hashimoto, and she needs to take selenium and like all the time. Is there a specific daily safely amount to drink, or she should contact you directly?
I think
Can you tell her selenium at all? Or?
I think if they've been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, they most likely have a specialist that they obviously see. In terms of selenium, again, if she's seen a specialist, I would always say to consult with her specialist consultant or anything like that. If not, contact me via Instagram, and then we can obviously have a chat and follow up, because it's quite specific to her, and it's a topic which is obviously she would need to find a specialist who obviously specializes in that autoimmune condition.
Another question is about detoxing the liver, and is there any food or any method for detoxing the liver, or is there a supplement that can help with detoxing the liver?
I'm going to be totally honest in this sense, is that your liver and kidneys will help detox your body without any supplementation. So we can not take supplementation for any detox purposes. Detoxing was kind of like a term which was used a lot in the UK, I would say about 5 years ago. It's not used as much because through our dietary intake, our liver and kidneys will function to detox naturally without any supplementation. So I would say there's not a specific supplement which will help with that. No, not at this moment in time, according to obviously current research. But this, depending on science, this may change in the future. But obviously we've got our amazing organs which do the work for us. Yeah,
definitely. And the liver is one that regenerates itself when it's possible to regenerate. So it's a good thing that the body can do that on its own. I mean, our body is amazing the way it works, the way it heals itself. But I think you do need to support it in terms of maybe changing the food, or kind of eating more healthier diet if you have a specific condition, and just help support your body in terms of that condition. But yeah, the body is amazing how it heals itself, how the whole system works. But I just think that the body needs a little help or support just for maintenance. Basically, it's like a car. If you don't maintain it, it's gonna obviously something's gonna go wrong somewhere, but you need to look after it. So it's the same with the body, you know. You have to look after it.
And the way we were created is, again, I'd say our liver and kidneys work amazingly. Dietary intake obviously helps in terms of our day-to-day lives, but I would always go with food as opposed to going in a store and, for example, picking up these supplements which may help when your body's naturally going to do that anyways. So as you said, dietary intake is important, but I wouldn't necessarily say there's a supplement which will help with that. I think which Lyferoots supplement is your most popular? Relaxease. At this moment in time, Relaxease. And one of the things which has changed within the UK, Athena, before women brought supplements usually more than men. So like current statistics, we saw more sales of women's multi prior to the pandemic. During the pandemic, we saw quite a change in, for example, because usually it would be, for example, a woman would go and buy a men's multi for her partner or son or anything like that, or obviously family member. It's changed. A lot of men, I've noticed, have started to invest in more, which is maybe seeing a shift in stats moving towards that men are caring more about their health, caring more to invest in whether they need supplementation or nutrition consultants or anything like that. So I think, yeah, it's changed into what it used to be. But I would say Relaxease, men's multi and women's multi are top 3 at this moment in time.
Okay.
How important is it for young people 18 to 24 to take multivitamins? Or is it not essential? I think it depends again on it's so individual. It's so based on the individual. It depends on their dietary intake, on their lifestyle factors, and on whether they've got a condition or not. I think it goes back to saying how individualized nutrition is. Would I recommend every single person take a multi? Not necessarily, because a lot of people get adequate amounts through their dietary intake. So I would say it depends on the individual. If you've been obviously told that you would require certain nutrients, and again, a multi might be beneficial, but if not, then it depends on the individual. I would always go based on food intake. I would always try and edit food intake to ensure that you have adequate amounts of these nutrients. But again, that's not always possible because of certain, obviously, individuals in certain conditions. So yeah, I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's quite individual. I have just one more question here. I've seen somewhere that, benefits of magnesium. This is the mineral magnesium. It helps to lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar, reduce blood clotting, lowers inflammation, increases feel good factor in you, like the hormones, the serotonin and the dopamine, so which lifts up your mood and increases your brain memory. So you don't realize things that they're so important, that minerals like help with all these things. You just assume that they're just a mineral. You're never taught these kind of information, and when you start getting into this holistic health, then you just find out the benefits of all these vitamins and minerals. So do you think that magnesium helps with this? But I think there's so many magnesiums out there in the market, so I think each one of them has a specific role. Maybe not just one type of magnesium helps with all these things. Is that the case? Or?
Magnesium as a mineral, science-wise, it's needed for over, I think it's like 300 biochemical reactions in the body. So how it helps the body is there's all different factors in how it helps, whether it's for maintaining normal nerve, muscle function, and everything like that. So it honestly, as a mineral, it's very powerful. But would I, for example, not everyone requires a supplement of magnesium on a day-to-day basis. Again, it goes back to being very individualized. There's different forms of magnesium, but you still absorb magnesium. So again, it depends on the brand, it depends on the form that you need to go for. But these are all kind of individualized different elements that you would obviously aim to seek support with, whether it's from a nutritionist or a dietitian, anything like that. So to kind of answer your question, there's not one type which is better than the other, because it entirely depends on the individual. And is it beneficial for the body? It's one of the most powerful minerals that we have, and it's required for over 300 biochemical reactions in our body. So it is definitely essential, but it depends on the individual, because not everyone would require supplementation of magnesium.
Yeah. There's different ways of taking magnesium as well, because when I was pregnant, they were telling me that I should take magnesium in terms of the salt and put it in water and then put my feet in it, because the absorption is better that way. And I didn't realize that there's different forms of magnesium. There's like citrate, there's all these different magnesiums available out there, and I think they have a different role for they play a different role for different parts of the body. So I think it's amazing where, you know, like just one mineral has like a bigger world in itself, and how it works inside our bodies. It's amazing. We should just learn more about minerals and vitamins, and you know, pay attention to the symptoms. But what we discussed here, I think it was just basically like a openness or a starter to this kind of topics. And I think people should, you know, listen to their bodies and to their symptoms, and don't take their bodies for granted, you know, just assume that everything is fine or is working well. I think they should go to the doctors regularly and take like tests regularly, and pay attention to the diets, and find a nutritionist like yourself, you know, and get informed about food, and, you know, living a healthier lifestyle, because it just lowers the risk for disease. And you know, your body needs all this nourishment. Yes, it's gonna work fine on its own. It's designed that way, but I think generally you should just take care of more of yourselves, really. So I think topic, and it's really good that we've come together with this initiative to, you know, raise awareness, just not within our family, but, you know, move on to the local community and then spread it worldwide.
Definitely. I think if anyone has obviously more in-depth questions, anything like that, I'm always happy to, whether it's a discussion, anything like that, they can always send me a direct message, because it's when it's more personalized, it's better to seek individualized help through a nutritionist rather than obviously answer questions through a live, because when it's more personalized and it's disease related, you would need to see a specialist in that field. So if I can't help, I can always direct them to the correct person.
Definitely. I think these things are very personalized, you know, you can't, because everybody is different, is picked up differently. So, you know, definitely a specialist should be contacted for different type of conditions, or, you know, if they have a question, I think they should direct it to a specialist. So thank you for making yourself available. So I look forward to our next topic together. So stay tuned, guys. Stay with that happy health, and stay with Egzona Mak.